You know, I'm a big fan of Sonic. I used to play that game so much when I was a kid. In fact, I've beaten Sonic the Hedgehog 3 at least a few times, so I was very excited when the movie trailer first came out. Until this happened. This is not Sonic. Whatever this is will give you nightmares. As a longtime fan and a character artist, I'm going to create a fan art of Sonic from the classics, just to remove that horrible image we just saw from both my mind and hopefully from yours. At least until they fix it. In this 2-part video, I will show you the whole creation from A to Z of Sonic from the classics. Enjoy! First thing I'm gonna do is create Sonic's shapes as simple as possible. I'm gonna do this real fast and I'll be back in a second. Let's go! This is what we got so far. So this is the blocking stage of Sonic, and as I've explained earlier in my videos on the channel, keep things simple at start, like this, right? This is a good start. It took me around 45 minutes, and yeah, you can see in a really short amount of time you can get a good base for your character, and then you can start adding details. But before we do that, I'm gonna add some real quick viewport colors, which has nothing to do with the final render of Sonic or the final colors, but we'll get more into that later on. Let's go. Now that we have the colors in the viewport, we can easily see which elements are still missing for Sonic. So first of all, I gotta add the eyes over here, right? The green ones. We have the mouth as well. We have this part of the body. We have the shoes, so the stripe and the little thing over here. And last but not least, we have the ears. So I'm gonna do all of that and I'll be back in a second. Let's go. As you can see, once I've added the other elements for Sonic, well, it's starting to look like Sonic, which is pretty awesome. I still have to add the mouth, but that's something I'm gonna do later on in the video. For now, I want to focus on the hands. Now, I usually sculpt the hands, but in this case, I will model them because the fingers are really thick and they're big, right? And since they're close to each other, well, it's gonna be really hard to sculpt in between the fingers. So modeling will be an easier choice for this character. That's what I'm gonna do. And I'll see you guys in a second. It's been 2 hours and a half since I started Sonic, and as you can see, so far, so good. Now I promise I will add the mouth later on. I know I didn't add it yet, but I wanted to talk about the stage since it's very important. Now if you're not following a concept art or if you didn't draw the character beforehand, it's a very good idea to grab your character while he's still simple, when you have almost all of the elements like we do over here, and try to imagine the end result. So quickly pose him and see what he looks like at the end, just in case you need to make any big changes, because now is the best time. And at this point, again, since it's simple, it's very easy to just move him around as you can see, or maybe I can even grab the whole head over here and just rotate him and try to get different poses, which I'm gonna show you some examples of what I did. This is the first test pose that I did. Again, very easy to do. It took me 2 minutes, just move things around. Now I didn't pick this pose at the end because, well, kinda looks like the golden version of Sonic. You know, the one in Sonic the Hedgehog 3 when you get all of the emeralds and then transform, which was a really awesome part of the game. But either way, that's why I didn't pick it, so let's take a look at a different pose. This is the second pose that I tried, and I really love this one, but I didn't pick it because it's a bit too ambitious. I imagined, you know, different characters here, his nemesis, and some classical stuff. So yeah, this is really awesome, but again, I have a very short time frame to make these videos, and that would have taken forever to do, maybe 2 weeks. So let's move on to the third one. Here's the third pose that I did. Again, it was a bit too ambitious. You know, I imagined other stuff in the scene over here. but I wanted to add some classical elements, like the spring, and I kept the idea of the coin, like in the game when you get in the spring and you jump, you get the coin, or you go to a higher place to get some, certain elements in Sonic the Hedgehog, like that box that you jump on and then you get the firepower, electricity, and that kind of stuff. So I did have that in mind, but at the end I didn't pick it because of the time frame I have for this video. So let's take a look at the fourth one. Here's my fourth attempt, and this is definitely a winner. Now again, this is a test pose, it's nothing like a final result. There'll be lighting, textures, electricity, all that kind of cool stuff. The pose is gonna look a lot better. It's very rough right now and the character is not done yet. But I really like this pose because one, Sonic looks really strong, which is really awesome. I'm looking for that. I also added the game element, which is really important for me, so the coin, and I added the electricity, like in the concept we saw in the movie trailer, which I personally thought was really awesome. So that I'm gonna go for as well. Now that I know what kind of pose I'm going for, I can continue from where I left off. So first thing I want to do is connect these parts to the head, and I'm also going to do something called Retopology so that the character becomes manageable, so that I can rig him, move him around, texture him, and all of that kind of stuff. It's a bit technical, so I'm gonna skip most of it, but anyways, I'll be back in a second. Let's go. Yes, so I finally finished retopologizing the character. It's a really boring process, at least in my opinion, and if you don't know what that is, don't worry about it, it's a bit technical. But basically what I did earlier is create this polygon flow over here that will allow me to rig the character, move them around, animate them, texture them a lot easier. And I also attached this part to the head, so looking really cool. Let me remove that, there you go. And obviously I still did not add the mouth. Again, I know I promised so many times throughout the video that I'll do it, and I still will. But for now, let's rig the character. So I'm going to add a skeleton, and then I will connect the character to that skeleton to move him around. Let's go. I finished adding the skeleton to Sonic, but it is not ready yet. If I move it around right now, you're gonna notice some seriously weird deformations over here. I'm moving the arm and the head is moving, the shoes is moving. This is a problem that we're gonna have all over. And this is because if I take a look over here, the skeleton that I added, well, it still doesn't quite understand which part of the character to affect. So I need to make the skeleton understand that this part of the bone, for example, should affect only this area. So in the next step, I'm gonna do some seriously very extreme poses like this, and I'll do some corrections, and then we can start posing the character. I'll see you guys in a second. I'm done with the corrections and I think it's working pretty well. Let's take a look. So if I grab over here the hips and I move them around, oh yeah, you can see no problem here. So I'm gonna do a really quick test pose, you know, the very famous one in Sonic the Hedgehog 3 where he does that, and we'll see if it works. Let's go. Alright, Alright, so as you can see, the rig is working pretty well. I also did the 5-minute animation over here just to test and see if it works with the animation. And I think if you put the right amount of time on this, you can get some pretty cool animations with Sonic. But for now, I want to focus on creating a final render for this video. So let's get back over here and create the mouth. Let's go. And I finally added the mouth for Sonic, and I think it's looking pretty good. So over here it looks really low res, but that's normal. It's because of an option I activated, which is called Simplify, and this allows the viewport to be faster when I work. So I can always toggle it on and off. So let me put it back on so that I can continue working. And now I will work on the final pose, the same one that we chose at the beginning of the video. Let's go. Now that I'm done posing Sonic, let me show you the difference between this one and the earlier version that we chose at the beginning of the video. So over here in the top we have the current version at 6 hours, and in the bottom we have the older version or the earlier version at 2 hours and a half. Now that's quite a lot of time difference, but a lot of it went into technical stuff like the rigging, animation, the retopology. So we can see over here there's a really nice flow as opposed to the one in the bottom, and it looks a lot slicker, the proportions are better, and all over a better character. But because of that time difference between the first one and the second one, since we're putting more than double the amount of time, this is exactly why I made the earlier pose to make sure that I want to proceed with Sonic this way. Because if there's anything I wanted to change, it would have been a lot easier to make it while I was still at 2 hours and a half. So anyways, now that that's said, let's get back to the current version. Alright, so this is where I will stop for this part of the video, and in the second part, I'll show you how I turned this version of Sonic to a badass textured version in a real-time engine called Eevee. I'll be texturing Sonic, creating materials, lightings, creating effects for the electricity, all that kind of good stuff. So make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell to get notified when part 2 comes out. Yeah, so hopefully this made you forget a little about Sonic from the movie trailer. They seriously need to fix it. The good news is they did say they will, but they need to make it much better. Not a little bit, much better, because right now it's just, Anyways, don't forget, part 2 is coming out, and the final version of Sonic that I got is looking really good. I'm really happy with it, so I'm very excited to show you guys. And above all, this was actually really super fun to do. I really enjoyed creating this character and even editing this video and just doing the whole thing. So this is gonna be cool. It's gonna be real cool. Either way, don't forget, subscribe to the channel, like, and share the video if you enjoyed it. I'll see you guys in the next one. Make sure to subscribe to the channel for more awesome character sculpts and art related videos. You can also check out my store for full courses on character sculpting, texturing, materials, brushes, and more. Last but not least, if you enjoyed this video, then you will definitely enjoy the next one.